Okay, hey everybody, welcome to this evening stream. So this evening we're going to be continuing with our own build jam submission, game jam submission. So as we announced last week, our first major prize money, $50,000 prize pool game jam is live, and it's still live for another week yet. So you've got plenty of time to join in if you haven't already. It's the theme is Dream Vacation, so there's quite a lot of ways you can interpret that. So what we're going to do, as I say, is we're going to continue the sort of airport simulator sort of game that we started last week. I can see it's a little bit quieter in chat here tonight, but that's fine. We'll kind of crack on, and if you have any questions, if you're watching, then do feel free to shout them out. Okay, so we're going to jump in straight into what we had. Hi, Dracos. And we're going to have a quick look at where we were up to. So I think basically last time I spent most of the stream just building out the world. So we've kind of got this airport space. So what I'll probably focus on today is trying to add a few more like kind of gameplay elements to it. Firstly, I think I need to change up a few little things. So obviously we're still collecting apples. That doesn't make any sense. What I would quite like to do is perhaps adjust the way that you interact with things. So that's sort of currently set to be on sort of a raycast from the character. So if I stand here, you can see that popped up at the bottom saying press X to collect. But because I'm doing a fixed camera, I'm going to see about changing these to be sort of a trigger based system. Not sure what's going to be involved with that. Everybody else is busy building the jam. That's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm highly expecting this to be a really quiet stream because everybody's far too busy, either with work, with real life, or with the game jam. So yeah, I'm more than happy to just sort of kick back and keep things ticking over. I'll probably be spending a lot of time in this one coding, I think, and sort of doing some general game dev kind of work. So it's not a super exciting stream, but it's just nice to have people here if they wanted to be here. Right, so let's think about how we're going to do the trigger-based interaction stuff. So I guess the first thing would be, let's have a look at one of the Bibles. Okay, so that's got this interaction trigger on it, and then that will pass through to the Bible script. Okay, so basically interacting with that trigger is what causes it. But I guess what I want to do is on trigger enter, give the player a chance, or do I just automatically pay? No, let's say let's do this smart. So on trigger enter. Okay, so let's clear that. And let's say on trigger enter, we want to do something in here, and we kind of want to say this player's wanting to purchase this. So then we could maybe set something on the player and say, this player wants to do a thing. When they press the button, this is what we want them to do. So I'm going to get rid of that function there because that will stop it prompt appearing when it shouldn't do. So on interact needs to be something like on purchase. So here we want to say, tell the player right, is this smart contract compatible? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by smart contract. You might want to maybe elaborate a little bit on what you mean by that. Let's go to our player. So I think what I'm trying to do is add like a middleman sort of action handler. So let's explore this. It would work a little bit like the way I did it in Canyon Miners, I guess. We'll call this action handler. Action handler script. Right, okay, so probably want a fallback string and callback args, like a table of arguments. So what I'm imagining here is I can basically say when the player enters the trigger, we want to tell the player that they're capable of triggering something to happen. So like set action with the callback and the args. So when they do the action, what is it they're going to do? Like what is it they're going to press essentially? Or, you know, what fires. So we'll set the callback. I am kind of making this up as I go along. You may or may not have guessed. This is something that I have written in the past, but this is kind of a fresh implementation of it. I haven't put a huge amount of thought into this game. I kind of wanted to keep the spirit of the jam going, so you know, it's more of a coding things on the fly and we'll work out what does and doesn't work. If you are working on the jam, let us know how it's going in chat. Be interesting to see kind of a weekly check-in. You know, we're halfway through the process. How's everybody getting on? Are you on your sort of original idea still, or have you kind of cycled through several ideas? So let's set up a new table up here. So this table is going to basically hold some buttons. So I probably want to say I might go for jump in this, but let's change it so we can do it on the fly. Interact, and maybe some of the extra actions. So extra 1, 2, 3, and extra 4. Okay, so I want to be able to specify in the properties what the actual action button is. Give it some options, and the options are going to be what's in this table up here. Okay, and I think the default, I'm going to set the default to be jump. I'm kind of thinking if I disable jump, because it doesn't really make sense to be able to jump from the camera angle that we're in. I think, you know, the fixed orbit camera, there's not really much point. So dry case is about 50% of the way done. That's good. You know, 50% of the way through, 50% of the way done. So yeah, submissions do close next Tuesday at 11 AM GMT. So by this point next week, submissions will be done. So hopefully you're all kind of on track to get something together. Now's a good chance to sort of evaluate and maybe cut things if you don't need to cut them, or kind of prioritize what needs to get done first to make sure that the game's going to work. Okay, so if we press our action button, if self.callback is not equal to that, then what we basically want to do is call that out. We need to know where we're sending this callback as well, don't we? Yeah, so we need an entity. Okay, and then essentially what we're going to do is say self.callback on empty strips, self.callback and args or nil. So we either don't send anything, or if we have something for args, we send it. Okay, we're going to need a way to cancel actions. So if the player leaves that trigger area, we want to cancel this action. So write a function that handles that, and essentially all that's going to do is reset these things. Cool, we'll worry about the prompts in a second. So okay, right, so from here essentially what we need is a set player action that takes the player. Okay, and what we're going to do is say player center scripts set action, and the first thing was this entity. So this is where we were calling back because we want to call this function here. As a string, we're going to say on purchase, and we're not going to pass any args. Although this function does need the player, so maybe that. Yeah, let's say. Player. I think that should work. Okay, and then we obviously want the opposite side to which will cancel it. So we'll say cancel player action. And that will get our player that comes through. Then to scripts, cancel. I think it's just cancel action. Okay, definitely leaning into the metaverse route. That sounds good. Yes, I'll be waiting for your play to earn so eagerly. Yeah, so if you talk about blockchain stuff, I think that's maybe what you are. There's no kind of plans at the minute to have any sort of blockchain integration. I think that's a very sort of interesting space for sure. But yeah, not something we have any particular plans for. Is exploring, you know, the sort of blockchain, NFTs, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a really cool space. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that. Right, okay, so let's think what we need to do now. So on my viable, I need to have here, so when I enter the trigger, I want to trigger the set action function. And when I exit the trigger, I'm going to cancel. Okay, so now we've kind of removed the interaction side and it's sort of trigger based, which should all work in theory. Yeah, let's see if that works. The lighting out in here a little bit as well. Okay, so we shouldn't see. Oh, we do still see the interaction prompt. Ah, it's because these aren't the Bibles, these are the updatables. Okay, so I need to change that slightly. But standing here, I'm not seeing a prompt appear for these. So there is a trigger box there. I probably need something in world to help explain where the trigger is. For one of these. Okay, but if I stand roughly where I think it is and I hit jump. Again, error. Attempt to index local player. Okay, cool. Let's go and have a look at that. I'm going to disable jump on the player as well, so we don't actually jump. Do that. Okay, right. Why didn't that work? It's probably because I'm calling. $540. Oh, cool. So it did get to here. That did work. But player was blank. And that's probably because this isn't behaving the way it should do. Ah, so I've just called it args. Self dot callback args should do it. Let's see. I am passing a table actually. I don't know. I expect it to just be the player, don't I? Not a table. So this would be args, and I would have to say that. Okay, so that will get the player out of that table. See if this works. So we shouldn't be able to jump anymore. We should just get that sort of. There's no animations. That sort of frees this up to be a full button for us. I can stand in here. Base, there we go, cool. And then that's built that for me. Awesome. Going ahead. Okay, so now it would just be a case of doing the same thing here. So getting rid of that prompt to say that. It needs to say jump to collect instead. So how can I do that? Well, we do search the player entity. So if we look at our prompt script, we do have our update loop that runs every frame on the local client that is checking against our player that is attached to this user. So here we see this call, get button prompts. So we can actually use that on our player to say, is there anything that the player wants to tell the prompt system to display? So we can do that just here. We can say okay, so here's a little client server thing we're gonna have to think about. So this is happening on the local clients. This is the kind of my local PC. Everything above this is on the server, so this won't necessarily know about it. What can I do to fix that? I could have a text that comes with it. Yeah, if I say text, action text of type text, I will make this not editable, so you can't actually edit this through the properties. This is something that we're just going to set in code, and we can kind of use it as a flag here as well, I think. Let's see how it works. So action handler script set action text. Wait, no, that's not what I need, because I can set the property on the server. That'll work fine. So okay, so just to sort of reiterate there, so what I'm doing here that's different is, if I just zoom in a touch, so here these are all self variables, and that means that they're kind of constrained to the side of the server client that I'm working on. So currently all of this is happening on the server, which is the main. There's only one server for the whole game essentially, but I need to be able to access some of this on the local client. So in order to pass information to the local client, one way you can do that is to store things in your property bag. So anytime you update the property bag, that will then be accessible from all of the local clients as well. And we kind of want to do this opposite here. So action text is nil, so to clear that. Okay, so get button prompts. Use the prompts, and now what I can do is actually do an if statement here to ask, have we got some action text? And if we have, then I can return that alongside the action button. So if self.properties action text is not equal to nil, then what I want to do is access the right prompt. So prompts self.properties action button, okay, which would essentially be replaced with that. For now it's a little string would go in there, equals self.properties action text. Okay, let's see if that will work. What I need to do is specify the text here. The reason I'm using text and not a string is text is localizable, so you can set the different languages, the different kind of translations, and it should all kind of carry through. The system will then pick up what the local client is set to language wise and show them the right information. So I'm not going to go too far in terms of actually translating things, but it's a good habit to get into, to actually go with using kind of setting things up with text in the first place. Evening Splugster, how's your game jam going? Okay, right, so my buyables, I'm going to need some way here to probably say what the action text would be. So again, we'll set the prompt property here, and we'll leave this as actually to be editable. So action text of type text. So that now appears down here, and we'll say In this case, we're buying it, so it'll be to purchase. Something like that. I guess we had the interact message already. Maybe we don't need that. Maybe we can just lean on interact message. Doesn't hugely make sense, but for now I think that's fine. So we pass through interact message. Okay, let's just see if that works. What we're looking for is a little prompt to appear in that bottom right corner. Okay. Let's see if it appears with the right context. Okay, so press spacebar to buy this desk, and when I step away, not clearing. Okay. I think I know what that might be. I'm not sure if you can compare a text to nil. Like this. So what I might need to do is just have a another flag. Like has action. There's a boolean, and that's also not editable. So then I can basically here I can say properties as action is true, as action is false. Okay, so I can change this now to say if has action, then we're going to say basically if it's true, then we're going to do what we said. Default should be false by default, so let's see. Shouldn't see a prompt now. Okay, cool. So we don't see the prompt, so that's hidden that. Let's see if it appears when it's supposed to. Cool, okay. Press spacebar to buy this desk, and then that clears when I move out the trigger. Nice, okay. I foresee an issue with not being able to jump. I seem to have trapped myself, although you can climb. Yeah, I think I need to maybe remove one of these and then buy myself a little bit more space. I've already made the holes in the wall and everything though. Maybe I can rejig the way the meshes look. Okay, cool. So that works nicely. Let's go ahead and do our same for our datable. So in theory, there are different scripts. So we do want to add these two functions. This would be on collect. That should do it, but now we just need to make sure. Okay, yeah, we're going to clear that and we do our triggers instead. Set player action. And cancel player action. Okay, let's just test that one quickly. Okay, so we're not seeing that prompt appear when we look towards. But we get the press spacebar to collect when we run up to it. Aha, we see an error. 62. Because I didn't do the little code bit to pull the player back out of here. So args local player equals a player. So the reason I'm doing that is because we're not just passing the player entity, we're now passing a table from up here. So we're passing this. And again, the reason I've done that is even though the table currently only contains a player, it's a little bit more flexible in terms of adding more things going forward. If I wanted to have this, the set action on the player have like 5 different variables, instead of passing 5 variables through, I'd pass them all in the one table, and it just keeps it more contained and a little bit easier to adjust going forward. So that should work. Let's assume that is good. Okay, and now I'm not going to delete. Let's just have a little play with the spacing of what we've got going on here. Oh, not the Bible, it's the updatable to look at. So I'm stood here, I buy the thing, and then I suddenly can't move. So whether this needs to appear. At the end, maybe? Does that buy me some space? I'll make that general trigger a bit easier. That sort of fits. I don't think I'm clipping. Let's see how this looks. Okay, cool. So I can now get in and out, which is good. So now I might have the issue where my trigger box is slightly overlapping. I also need to turn off mantling because that's going to be annoying. Yeah, I guess there's a bit of overlap here. So if I move the trigger like that, I think that should keep it within the space. And that should stop that problem where I was kind of getting into one and out the other one and it was cancelling. And yeah. I can't quite run along here. Okay, a little bit plain there. I think because yeah, they're still a bit, probably a bit too close. So what I could do is I could probably make this a bit smaller again and maybe just have it off the end. So maybe even smaller again, and then have like something in world to kind of make it clear where you need to stand. One of the platforms maybe. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, I think that's a little bit easier now. So you can just sort of run up and down here and press A or jump, and that will collect them. I think that's kind of just a little bit nicer, in terms of a smooth user experience. So I guess let's wait for them all to get 1 and see if I can collect them all. Yeah, nice, cool. Take that. So lots of resources. So what I should probably look at now is actually introducing, like, cleaning up what the resources look like. So the whole idea of this is it's sort of like an airport. So I guess I'm collecting tickets. That makes sense, or do I just do? I better just do straight up cash. And then you're collecting cash from the desks. Probably makes more sense. So let's adjust that. So shop resource. Is cash. Find the cash icon. Oh, that's confusing, isn't it? Because you sell it for cash. So perhaps instead of cash, maybe you're getting like tokens. Or a robot in, so I'm going to call these a robo token. So you're essentially collecting robo tokens because you've been sending robots on holiday. That's what they are, and then the currency is going to be cash. Okay, so that's what we're selling them for. Cool, right, what do I want to do now? I guess I could introduce a little bit of balancing along the line, but I'll say that to the end. That's something I could perhaps do off stream because that's not the most interesting. What I was thinking I could do is, I could create a different version of those to make like a slightly more deluxe version. And so that actually, I'm going to get rid of this red first because it's still quite jarring. Do I make each floor slightly different? I could do like, one thing I'm thinking of doing, having like different teams. So we could have like blue versus red versus brown versus green or something. And it's like when you start the game, a bit like the sports game I made, is you get enlisted into a company, like an airport, an airline, and then you represent that airline. And then we can do things like, having X amount of, which teams made the most money and things like that. I might have a look at that. So I'm going to do that, leave it like that for now. But I think what I might do is, colour the areas and then have colour coordinated teams. Right, so let's have a look at changing our first. I don't need to change this actually, because I think on here you say what it is you buy. So I'm going to leave this the same. And it's the icon updatable. I'm going to make a different version. I'm going to make like a, slightly more VIP line perhaps. Let's just place this. I need to adjust some of the messaging on these as well. Probably going to make this a template from this template, so at least I can update all of them at the same time if I need to. Okay, so what is this going to get you? This is going to be the VIP line. So let's template this. Updatable. We'll call this the deluxe line. Okay. Go ahead and update this in here. Right, so this is our template view. Dystopian world where humans work to send robots on vacation. That's great. Yeah, that's kind of the thought. Is it's it's the dream vacation for the robots is just to probably be catered for and be sent away somewhere. So what do we need? What's deluxe? I guess we probably want some. We've got the ropes, haven't we? The barriers. No, what's it called? The lane dividers. Is that what these go with? I'm sure we've got some actual... Ah, it's literally there. The lane divider post. There we go. That's better. This is how you know it's legit. Maybe have some fancier things on the desk as well. Ooh, balloons. Robots love balloons. What I'd like to do at some point is perhaps add like kind of robots are actually moving around as well, and I can maybe make the VIP robots look slightly more, upper class. I feel like I should make the other one look a little bit more rubbish as well. I'd like bin bags and things to it just to set them apart. Have cobwebs all over it. Yeah, I might go and do that. What else looks good? Well, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to look slightly better. Okay, so let's have a go at sort of a bit of balancing here. So the stock time on this one, we can just up that to say a minute for now. So I think I might leave it so each time the max is 10, but it's just the time it takes to generate is longer. Long waits at the metal detectors, yeah. It's almost like you want the opposite, right? Like, would a robot airport have like a flesh detector? That'd be kind of the opposite way around. It'd be a bit weird. I guess what would be the sort of equivalent of a security risk? I guess being a robot is already a security risk, right? So. Ooh, are all these... Wait, is my baggage scanner and desk like flying in the other one? Huh. Maybe they are. Interesting. So if I go edit my area. Oh wait, no, I do need different versions of the Bible, don't I? Because it needs to know what to buy. Good point. So, because the Bible itself spawns in, that's not sat there. You say which slot is going to spawn what Bible, and then the Bible says what data will spawn. So, I do need to duplicate this. No, that's not the way to do it. Let's place one and let's make a new template from it. the deluxe line. Okay, and let's add you. So add on it, you look more fancy. Maybe I can do that with the tokens. No, coins. Oops. Maybe like a gold star is good, or maybe the number of these would help, wouldn't it? So this can be a 2-star. That's how I can translate that. This is a 2-star deluxe line. Going to cost you 3,000, and it gives you the deluxe line updatable. What would this be? Gate? Gate for sale, like an airport gate. This is not your airline. Buy this gate. Oops. Okay, let's get that in there. So this is going to be like a 1-star gate, and the other ones are a 2-star. So if we go and update our area, so as I say, we've got slots. So I could basically do, like basic, deluxe, and like supreme, and then like 1 mega desk at the end, which is like well expensive. If you are working in Tycoon and you ever want to sort of reset your save, see what's going on, if you go to the user template, auto save, and then what you want to do is just change this save version here. And that's going to essentially wipe your inventory, it's going to wipe your progress irretrievably. So take care when you do that. Probably EMP detectors, maybe virus scanning. Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think of whether some little like toys to add to this in terms of like having perhaps some like crisis. I'm thinking like I can make all the lights go out and have some mini games. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe some sort of like you could set an EMP could go off and like all of the robots just go haywire. It'd be pretty fun. Okay, so 1-star. Oh, they've got okay, because they're a template of a template. They've inherited the other star from the other one as well. So that's fine. I just need to set the stars up differently. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. So I've got 1,000 cash. Buy this desk, it says, but buy this gate. Probably can't afford that, so then I can buy this one. And we'll set that off ticking. Cool. So then we'll go back to that in a minute, so I can fix some things. I quite like making Tycoon games because it's almost quite fun the way that you can iterate quickly in the editor. You can make changes and test them quickly, but then you can also kind of test the gameplay by kind of jumping back to the editor, making some changes, going back to the preview, and you've kind of your things have ticked along because of the real time element to it. So they're quite fun games to work on for that reason. Okay, so that's my coin from the other one I made. So if I delete this one, if I go to here and actually move this one along to like there, we want them sort of on that front line. If I go back, there we are. And the reason that's carrying across from template to template is because this is a template of that template. So any changes in the original one will come into play here. So what I probably want to do is make a template of this template for the next one. Have like a chain so they can kind of all inherit together. Maybe might get a bit messy. Okay, so that's sorted that. So I can jump back in now, and I should have earned a little bit of robo tokens, whatever I called them. Oh, it didn't save. Interesting. Maybe I quit before it auto-saved, so actually I should probably get it to auto-save more often. Probably I could mix up the inventory a little bit as well, because ultimately I don't think I'm going to have that many slots. Oh, shop. The shop's another thing I need to update and actually add into the new way of doing things with the actions. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Right, okay, so I probably need to give it a trigger. And maybe not have it as a vending machine. Okay, so on interact, let's hide this. So we don't actually care about looking at the shop. And instead of on interact, it's on open. That player action. Okay, so so all I'm doing here is just what I sort of did at the start of the stream, which is leveraging that new little sort of action system that I wrote. Okay, so we've now got these two things which will basically hook into what we're doing here. So, on trigger enter, we want to set player action, and on trigger exit, we want to cancel the action. Okay, let's see if that works. Got my robo tokens. Ah, yes, I am seeing that prompt. So press A to open shop name. Aha, okay, so here's a little problem, is that the prompt has some formatting, so we're going to need to make some adjustments to the way all that works. But other than that, I'm also... Ah, yeah, okay, same mistake I keep making. So the player isn't available here. Actually, I'm getting a table back, so just say odds.player there. That should fix that issue. Okay. So the thing I could just do this here, up here, but the problem is at this point I'm still on the server, and the server doesn't know what the local client's language is set to. But actually, you always want to do the formatting of a string when you're on the local client, which this function would be on. So I need to think about passing the prompt args as well here. So let's go to our player action script. Okay, and let's just think about how we're going to do this here. So I'm going to need another action when I set, which will be text args. Args basically means arguments. Can I store a table there? Not sure that's going to work. I need to just write a little bit more code here. So locally I'm going to store a new variable which is text args as nil, or let's just say an empty, no, let's say nil. Okay, and then I can say player action handler set text args as self text args equals that. So now I can call this locally. I can say if text args is not equal to nil. So if I pass some in, and let's send to local. Okay, so we're going to format the string with the table that we pass in if there is one, otherwise we're just going to do it normally. I think this should work. What I need to make sure I do now is pass this table in here. That's going to land just that, which I basically say, yeah, I've got some because it's not nil, so send that to local. Sign that on the local variable. So clearing this is what I need to do now. It should be easy enough, so I know that when I cancel here, I can just clear it. Okay, see if that's any better. Okay, so that's still working on that prompt, so that's good. Hey, look at that. Okay, press A to open Tycoon Shop. So that's passing that through as expected. Open the shop. Sell all my tokens. Cool, that's working nicely. Notice I'm clipping on something. Ah, those little tokens on top will be hitting the camera. I need to fix that. I really like scripting, but I find myself really getting lost in building sometimes. It's almost therapeutic, especially the little detail stuff. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. To be honest, this stream's going to be quite code heavy, or it has been so far, and I think I really haven't spent much time coding recently. I've spent a lot more time building out worlds, building out stuff, playing with, kind of internal meshes, but also whenever I get any time in game on live, I tend to spend time just building. Like last stream, I spent the whole stream pretty much building out this airport. It's quite fun sometimes, like problem solving in sort of 3D space and building things out that way. It's really, therapeutic. I think I definitely agree with that, especially when you're doing things with the terrain tools, when you're sort of drawing around in the brush and you're kind of building the world up in that sense. And like what Equorock did with those starter maps for the build jam, with the way you can kind of just sort of colour those in. Really, I think therapeutic's definitely the right word for it. Not buildable. Not even in the right tab. And just turn collision off on these for now. I guess I could tidy these up a bit. Although maybe I can get rid of that. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Let's get rid of this UI, and that will save me a little bit of budget on the UI front, because I can probably put all I need into the prompt. Maybe get the prompts to be in a slightly more useful place as well. Sometimes get lost in that bottom corner. And I think, realistically speaking, I'm only ever going to see one prompt, which is this: press A to do stuff. So maybe I might even move it up into the middle of the screen a touch here. It's currently sort of down here. I might just get it to sit up here. So the entry data bind. So for every entry, where's content? Here we go. Okay, so let's get, if we get the content class to be central, that's what we want. Position absolute. I say left 50%. And top 50%. That moves there. Okay, so what is the body? Okay, so the body is the whole thing. What about this one? I see. Okay, so that is sort of central. So it's central from that like there is the center of the screen. So now I need to shift it across by 50% and up by 50% to actually get the center of this element to be middle of the screen. So you can do that with a transform. Translate minus 50% on the x-axis and minus 50% on the y. There we can see that sort of jumps up to the center. But now these things, I mean, that's probably pretty good. I don't want it to be smack bang in the middle, I guess, because that's where the character is. So if I can get these to align, flex, and I don't want them to just be central. So if I mean, go for the classic text align, Hail Mary, see if that works. Okay. I'm just guessing at this point. Flex center. Flex. Still? No. If anyone in the anyone in chat is a CSS wizard, knows the right align items, I guess I could just look, couldn't I? We could have a quick have a quick midstream Google. Let's see. CSS align. Apparently the word, just the word center. We'll do it. So let's have a look. Oh, hey, there we go. Find all sorts of stuff. Okay. Apple source. What if you do justify content center? So it looks like align item center worked. Not sure what this is doing at this point. Okay, so that's justification to the bottom. So as you say, if I put that to center, that'll probably put it in the middle. Makes sense. Probably want it to be where it was though. I think that's going to be the best position given where the character is going to stand. That works. Try this. This is how I usually do UI. Yeah, I mean that's a. Oh, I left the red on. Let's get rid of the red. But you know, I think that's one of the nice things about the UI system in Crayta is it is CSS. It's a fairly accessible language in terms of scripting. There's a lot of resources available online for it. So that's taken me 2 seconds to just nip to a web page and quickly Google how to do it, and answer was right there. So trial and error is certainly valid when it comes to UI in Crayta. Right. See. Okay, so that's appearing in it. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good place. That's like a lot more obvious. Can I? Oh, I can probably afford. Okay, so I'll go over here. I'm going to sell that. I can buy one of my deluxe ones now. It's so deluxe. Got balloons and it's got lane dividers, which I guess. Oh, balloons need collision turning off. I guess I could put some lane dividers this side as well. That would. Sense. Cool. Okay, but what they need to give me, the deluxe ones give me just as many but take longer, but actually what they should give me is probably worth more, so it should be like a deluxe token. Okay, that's that, and then we want, yeah, we need to create a new resource. A shop resource. Yeah, and I'm just going to create a template from this, so update changes will propagate through. Be a deluxe shop resource. Like different robot for this one. Sell price, these will sell for 500 each. So yeah, I guess you need to work out that what's more efficient time wise, because the other ones are going to take twice as long but are worth 5 times the amount. So seems like these are pretty good. But all that can kind of come in terms of balancing and stuff. Get those values up. Okay, let's go ahead and update our deluxe line. Not that one. Oh, I broke something. Don't break. Red. Entity not found. I'm not entirely sure what it means. That error. Did it? Obviously had something hanging around in the code that I didn't enjoy. Let's update it. Airline. Okay. Cool, let's just have a little look at this. Okay, so you can see that I've got 2 inventory items now because they're 2 separate things. And the shop should know how to process them straight away. That one is worth a heck of a lot more. Oh yeah, I do need to do the wall over here, don't I? That prompt I was just thinking. E to collect. Cool. So I've got a little bit of a loop there. Thinking I've got these like random bits hanging down. I wonder if I need to. They're part of the area. I'll probably do turning collision off on them at some point. That's going to be a nuisance. Okay, right. What do I want to do now? So. There's a little bit of gameplay added there. As I say, I can kind of keep adding more and more resources, but I don't want to just spend the whole stream doing that. But I think I'll add a couple more sort of tiers of gate. I think that'd be quite a good way to make that more interesting. I could add more to the area itself over here. So maybe I could add a completely different thing to purchase. Maybe I could add like a bar area that you can buy. Or the other thing I was going to do was the global counter stuff. So when you log in, if you don't have a team, you get assigned a team. And then you can basically be collecting for your team. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. It's going to be a little bit code intensive, but I think that'll be quite an interesting kind of addition to the whole sort of tycoon thing, and it's a good hook for people to come back in and play with them. And then I think to round the stream off, I might jump in and do a few little bits with the loading screen and the help text and stuff to just reiterate that sort of stuff. Maybe gift shops, says Applesauce. Yeah, little gift shop might be good. I'm imagining, because you've got the gates that take up like this left hand side, and then yeah, this right hand side could be like a little bar bit. There could be some vending machines that you buy that generate sort of tokens over time. All that sort of stuff. Right, let's have a look at what we want to do here. So let's add a new script folder to my user, and this will be team. And add user team script. So this is where we're going to store what team the user is on. So team is going to be a number. It's going to default to 0, which should basically mean no team. and it's not going to be editable. And by that again, as I say, I mean, when I hit save, it means it doesn't appear over here. So this is just something that's in the properties, but not for players to actually change or other creators to tweak. This is purely something that's in the property bag as a thing to sort of store that will be kind of server and client side. We're going to want to load what team we're on. So once you're assigned a team, that's it. That is your team for the duration of the game, essentially, until I choose to reset it. So on load, I want to say self get save data. And actually, this has changed, this function, recently. So this function actually, API is a little bit broken at the minute, I think. Yeah, basically this function, I'm pretty sure now, just instead of having a callback, it just returns the data for you instantly, kind of in the same frame like any other normal function would. So we say local save data equals that. Okay, right, let's add a save version guard in here. Okay, so that's just like I explained before. If we change this number and it doesn't match the save data, then we can just sort of wipe the data. It's a good way for testing, as well as a good way of being able to actually reset user data. So if save data, and so if we actually got some data, and save data dot save version is equal to self dot properties save version. Otherwise, okay, so defaults or load the team. Let's write the function that's going to save. It's kind of the same as what we did before, but it's sort of the other way around. So instead of getting the data at the start, we're going to build that table here. So save data is going to get built from our current property. So what's in our save version number. It's also going to be what team we're on. And then we're going to pass that to a function which is set save data. Save data. Okay, so that just basically tells us to store that table against this script, and then here we're just retrieving that data through the same thing. So now we want to be able to say to actually set the team, and that's going to set the property, and then we're going to trigger a save. I guess we're going to call our own script that does that. So well, guess what we need to do here is get the team. When we initialize on the server, we're going to call on load. We're going to load the data, and if we get a team out of it, we're going to have that team. Otherwise, assign a team. Okay, so how are we going to assign a team? Well, we want to keep it balanced. So what we need to do is get all the global counters. How did I do this before? So we probably need to have something that's polling the number of users in every team every so often, and we can actually reach to that thing and say, I want a team. So that'll probably exist in the world. We don't want every user template having to constantly check. So we'll have a team manager folder here, and we'll add a new script to this. Team manager script. Okay, so what is this going to do? So this is going to keep a table of all the teams and check the global counter for them every so often. And then when we assign a new, when this gets asked, you know, I need a new team, say which team is the least, add one to it, report that back to the user who asked. That makes sense. Okay, so we're going to want this to always happen, so we'll do a while true do end. So this is essentially saying for as long as this server is alive, let's keep doing this thing. We'll wait for a refresh time, which we'll specify up here. Let's, for the time being, let's just say every 5 seconds. We probably could up that to every minute or something like that in real life, in the real world. But so we're going to wait 5 seconds, and we're going to get all team info. Right, now I need to remind myself how this works. So games storage dot get counter has a callback. Okay, what's the counter name going to be? The counter name, I guess, would be like team size underscore X. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number of team. I guess there has to be 4 because of the areas I've got, so that's a hard-coded thing. 4 I equal 1. I is less than. I'm just confusing myself here. Let's make it. Yeah, let's make it 1 to 5. And this should loop 4 times. Alright, is it? Just string I. So that will essentially be, you know, team size 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to get that counter, and I want to for what does that return? Just value, okay. Okay, so I need to search through this table now and basically say, because this table is going to have 4 records in it, and each record is going to have the number and the count associated with it. So now I need to find which is the right one. So for record, there's self.team do if record.team number is equal to my team number. record dot team size equal to value, and then break. So break will get me out of this for loop. Do it. So once I get this back, I want to call update team size with I, which is the team number, and the value. Okay. Right. Yeah, because I know how many teams there are. I can kind of hard code this a little bit. So when we first start, this is what our table looks like. And we should now, every 5 seconds, be basically polling the global counter and working that out. So when this gets asked, what team? Assign user team. Do a sort. So teams, I don't know, table dot sort. I want to sort our self teams table, and the function I'm going to use for that is going to compare two records. We want to return if r1 dot team size is I want the smallest team at the top of R1 that line is basically going to arrange those 4 rows to make sure, if I've got that right, that the team with the smallest team size is at the top. Then I can say smallest team is self.teams 1, so whichever one is at the top of that table. That uses send to scripts set team as smallest team dot team number. And then finally what we need to do is obviously add this to the global counter. Team size. Okay, so that should add 1 to that global count, and this way is a way that we can basically just keep across all the instances of the game, across the region, you know, US, Europe, however many servers of this game are running, we should kind of keep a global constant count of how many players are on the team. I might just add a print up here. Okay, so we should see every 5 seconds, we should see a little printout of what's in the table. If this has worked. This will actually be better as a locator. So I can assign it to a script. You can't assign a script folder to a script. No, maybe I can't do that anymore. No. So I'm going to delete team manager there. I'm going to change it to be this. I'm going to add that script back on. Okay, so I've got this little script that's going to hopefully be that one manager. If all this works, as I say, this is all kind of just made up on the spot, so we'll see how we go. Team manager, that needs to come from world. Okay, so that's going to ask the manager, get me a team. It's going to send the user with it. That's going to come to here. It's going to do its thing. And we're going to call set team back on the user with the right team number. We get here, that's going to get saved to the user, and then we've got our team sorted out. So let's see if this works at all. That was a lot of code there without any testing. Let's see if the theory holds up. Oh, that's a lot of errors. Okay, but we can see there, every 5 seconds we're seeing 1 has 1 user, 3 has 0, 2 has 0, 4 has 0. So that's sorted that table out for me at some point. I can see that I've now got a user. So besides getting this published and getting people to test it, I can't really tell what's going on there. What I want to know is, what are all these errors on the client? Very self. Viable script 8085. Let's have a look. Seemed like a lot of errors just about the way it was initialized, but I don't think that's to do with anything I've changed. So I'm going to leave that for now. Ignorance is bliss. Okay, so what I could do at some point, I guess, is assign like a name to each team. Open it here, so. Probably just be a string, because it wouldn't really be a localized thing. So an array of team names, which feel free to have a shout out what you think. Something like Crayta Airlines. I guess we can lean back to the sort of stuff we did before. I might just go for the cop out now and just go for like Crayta Airlines 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the sake of testing. Right. What time? Yeah, I've got a little bit of time left. Can you show us how to set a teleport in a way that the players need a certain amount of items to use it? would that be a certain amount of items or a certain amount of a given item, if that makes any sense? So would it be like you need to have, you know, two spanners, 4 cogs and a gold bar, or do you mean you just need to have, you know, enough money for it or something like that? I think if there's a way I can do that in the context of this stream, otherwise it's going to be a little bit derailed, but it might be something that's worth asking out on Discord. There's a lot of people on Discord to be able to help you with that sort of thing, or we can maybe make a slightly localized example, but essentially you're going to want to check if they have enough of them in their inventory. So one thing you can do is when you go into a trigger, perhaps you can ask, you know, does this user have enough thing in their inventory? So I think what you can do is you can call remove template. So you can say, you know, if it's have they got enough gold bars, for example, you can pass the gold bar template and say remove count is 5. And you'll see here it steps through, it attempts to remove the item. Okay, and if they have enough, it will do it. Otherwise, it returns false. So you can basically say to the user, you know, remove from inventory this thing, this much. And if that function returns false, then they didn't have enough to do the thing. If it's true, it will have removed those things from their inventory, and then it will kind of do the thing you want it to do. So there's a little bit of logic around that, but that's the sort of area you're looking at. Right, okay, let's color coordinate these areas. So let's go red. Let's go area _2. Area _3. So obviously I need to make these separate voxel meshes or duplicate voxel meshes to prevent the issue where if I change one, they'll all change. Red, blue. Make them all slightly different textures as well, maybe. Green ones like that. And then something like yellow. Cool. But here's a thought. You don't always get placed in the same position that your team in. So if I'm team 2, I'll just be put into a slot that's available. Would it be confusing if you changed? Yeah, it probably would be, wouldn't it? Okay, let's scrap that idea for now. I'll keep them separate voxel meshes just in case we want to play. In fact, no, because if I make any changes to one, I'm kind of expecting it to work across all. Okay, scrap that idea. Oh, where has that gone? What is this? Huh? Why have I got that there? What's that? Bizarre. Have all of these areas got like a little sign floating in? Oh, they have. Probably delete that. Okay, so right. So now what I want to do is have a global sort of leaderboard. So there's just 4 4 entries on the leaderboard. So using global counters, I can basically tot up the points. So each time a player sells things at the shop, I want to be able to say what team you're on and update that team's leaderboard. So that's the wrong script. Shop script. I don't know, maybe that was the right script. Shop view script is where the sale happens. On sell item. Okay, here we go. So this receives, I've sold this thing for this much. Okay, so what I can do here is basically update your team's global counter leaderboard with the score. Good, right, so I want to say local user team. I have access. What do I have access? Oh, this is on the player, so I can get to the user that way. So self get entity is my player, get user, find script property team, and then I can say game storage, update counter. I'll say team money underscore. Okay, that works nicely. And then what I'm thinking is maybe having some in-world UI that's up here that basically tells you kind of which teams earned the most money. A billboard, is that? Or would it be shop? Blocking the windows a bit, but go with that for now. A global score UI script. So first thing I want to do is basically a loop in here that's going to sort of do similar to the team manager. It's going to poll the score every 5 seconds or so. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to probably need to have a similar sort of table, don't we? So okay. Okay, so we need to say game storage. Okay, so we're going to get that counter, and our function here is going to be, I guess, another function down here which is going to update our little table. Okay, so that's going to update our table with the right score for the team, so we can kind of keep on top of that. Next, we would have some UI that's going to pop out here, and I'm probably not going to have time to do the UI, but what I will do is just a local function that basically just reports what it's told, and we can kind of see it happening in the console. Okay, so the server is going to work it all out, and then we're going to pass this Teams through to the local client, and we will just print out what's in there. So again, this function here needs to just be print as, so one has 2 points, so one being the record team number and 2 being record team score. Okay, so where we're going to call this from, I guess it's going to be part of this loop. So every 5 seconds we're going to say do this, and then maybe just before that we can say send to all clients the update team update score table. All right, update score UI. Teams. Okay, so every 5 seconds we're going to update all the clients with the information, and we're going to poll the information as well. I wonder if actually that would be better the other way around, wouldn't it? So we can get the information, give it 5 seconds to do all of the sort of collection, and then we can update the UI. That would be better that way around. Okay, so that should be everything. So we're going to update every time we sell something. We're going to see that appear in the console. Let's see if that works. And then we'll probably look to wrap this up shortly. But I think I'm almost there. Maybe a little bit more time towards the end of the week, and we shall see what's going on. If I hit that. Global score UI script 59, attempt to call nil value. I can also see that global counters, I believe global counters reset every preview session, which is why it's telling me that there's no users on the team, but it should have saved it. And what I'd need to do is some UI to show you what team you're on. Well, that's not worked. Teams. That. rushing now. So it's not just in Okay, cool. Here we go. So we can see there we're seeing that team 1234 has no users and team 1234 has no points. If I collect a bunch of tokens from my things, I'm going to head over here and I'm going to sell all of those and all of those. So I've got like 15,000 cash now, which is loads. What do we see up here in here? One has no point. Okay, why am I not seeing the points? That's the next question. Maybe this side of it isn't actually working. Add some printouts, just get a little bit of an idea of what's going on here. No idea why all those are broken. Loaded on team 1. Okay, so it has stored that I'm on team 1. So we should be seeing that. Need to get something to sell. User team is 1. Okay, so it is picking up that I'm on team 1. Doesn't seem to be wanting to save that. Oh, wait. That's probably why. I'm never actually calling this. That'll do it. I'm not actually telling the table to update, so I'm saying team number in this case is I, and the score is the value. Right, now hopefully that should work. We should actually be able to see everything hooked up as expected. It's got no points now. That makes sense because it doesn't actually save the global counter between previews. I've got a lot of things to save. There we go. Okay, I can see that now team 1 has 37 points. 0, 0, 0. Okay, the one thing I need to do obviously is I need to convert it because I want this to be money. I'm saying I've sold 37 things, but I've got no idea. I've got no idea what those kind of how much money that was worth. So the way you would do that is you would multiply it by the cost. So when we probably just do this quick actually. So here we actually get the count versus count times. Yeah, here we go. Count times inventory sellable properties sell price. So actually, that's why I'm adding my counter, because I want to know how much money they've made, not how many things they've sold. And that should be that. Cool. Okay, well, we're kind of running a little bit towards the end here, but I think that's pretty good progress. I'm not too far away from having something that's publishable, so by the end of this week I'll aim to have something together as our sort of little entry for the game jam. So thanks everybody who's tuned in. Kind of fairly quiet night, but that's always quite nice to just kick back and do some game dev. So thank you for tuning in. I'm away next week, so the Tuesday night stream may or may not go ahead. We'll have to work out what we're going to do, but obviously by then we'll have all of our submissions available to play, so we'll definitely look to hopefully do some sort of play along next week with all the submissions, but if not, I'll be back the week after. But hopefully, there's a whole ton of them to play through. It looks like we're close to sort of 30 plus submissions, so 30 plus games is going to take us a few streams to get through them all anyway, so looking forward to giving those a go once I'm back. So as I say, you've got 1 week left. The deadline is next Tuesday 11 a.m. GMT, so that's kind of next Tuesday morning UK time, so not long now. You say you passed the halfway point at this point, so now's a really good time to take stock of where you're at. Prioritize the sort of things that you'd like to do first, in terms of making sure the game is going to play. And I'd really highly recommend getting something published sooner rather than later, so you can get people in to test it, to play it, to start balancing it. If you leave things to the 11th hour and you haven't really tested it, it's a good chance you're going to run into issues that were unforeseen. So really recommend, even if you don't publish it, trying to get some people into your editor to have some preview time. Maybe all group up on Discord and have a little playthrough. Maybe this week on Feedback Friday. I think we should be doing it. I think Andy Sargent is going to be running Feedback Friday. We'll make sure one of us are, and we'll, that's a really, really crucial, really good chance for you to perhaps get some feedback in. So if you get something ready for Friday, do let us know on Discord. That's discord.gg/Crayta, and that'll be a really good chance to have a little look, a little sneak peek of what you're working on, but also a good chance to get plenty of people in, have a test, and get some feedback. So as always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Crayta Game. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch. We're all over the place at the minute, so do make sure you sign up to all those different channels to keep up with everything that's going on in Crayta. And as always, head over to Discord, discord.gg/Crayta, which is the best place to really catch up with the community and the dev team. So Stuart's going to be live tomorrow. It's going to be Stuart's first hosted stream, so do make sure you tune in and give Stuart your full support. It'd be really great to see plenty of people in the game actually playing along. It should be a pretty fun evening. He's got a pretty good lineup of some really cool up and coming games that we've seen recently. So yeah, make sure you tune in tomorrow at the same time. That's 7 p.m. GMT for another fun evening of games with Stuart. And if I don't see you sooner, have a great rest of the game jam, and I'll see you all when I'm back in a week or so.